Hey, what up, guys? In this one, we're headed to Metropolitan Golf Links, and I must say it was extremely windy, and I got my butt handed to me. So it's not going to be the most beautiful golf out there, but I've tried my best. That being said, let's head out to the course and see how I did. All right, hole number one here at Metropolitan Golf Links. You're going to see that we played a tee forward, the white tees, because it was so windy. Didn't want to make the round any harder than it should be. That being said, this next shot, the wind took it, only hit a 9-iron about 95 yards and short. Duffed this chip here, didn't get it on the green, which should be your number one objective. End up just bumping this one, bump and run gang, where you at? And I ended up getting close enough to tap in for bogey. But that being said, check out that flag. That flag is howling in this wind. I think one thing about playing in the wind is that you don't realize how badly a high spinny fade gets taken away by the wind. You're going to see that in a couple drives here. But yeah, this one goes far right on a dog leg left. And then, of course, my second shot, I snap hook to the left. So yeah, I get nowhere close to the flag or the green on this one. And so I have to chip on for my next. And here's the chip attempt, just trying to get onto the putting surface, and I'm doing that. And so now I have a lengthy one for my par. Here's the par putt. And yeah, I had some putting issues today. I'm going to have a lot of excuses for my game today, as you're going to see this round unfold. So for the most part, Metropolitan Golf Links is a pretty open golf course. However, if you do miss the fairway, there is some grown out fescue parts. I ended up hitting this drive in the middle of the fairway, and my second shot end up just hooking it outside the fairway and then into this longer fescue part, and I couldn't find my ball. So I ended up just taking a hazard penalty, and then unfortunately I didn't really know how far to hit this next shot, and I lose another ball. So I took another penalty, and now it's just starting to blow up this hole and unraveling, and I hit this chip way too far trying to bump and run, and then I'm just putting this one just to keep it on the surface for as much as possible, and I leave that one short, and I end up tapping in for a triple bogey. So I played those two as like hazard lost balls, but you know, you can bait on how I could score that one, but nonetheless not a good score. All right, this next hole, longest par 4 on the course. This one was with the wind, and luckily I hit the cart path. Luckily I was able just to find my ball in this fescue stuff. End up hitting a pretty good second shot with my 6-iron here onto the green, and so I have a look at birdie here. And here's the putt attempt. And yeah, it ends up being close enough where I could just tap it in. Playing partner gives my ball back, and finally got a par on the scorecard. All right, coming up next is a par 3. You cannot see the flag, but trust me, I end up just short of the green and hitting into the body of someone according to the shot tracer. That being said, second putt from far off, did not break to where I thought it was going to break. Played completely through it, and then I had to clean up this one for par. And yeah, we were playing a match with some of the people with us in our group, you know, 2v2 match. And I had to put that one out, and I couldn't come through in the clutch. So yeah, I kind of choked there. Speaking of high spinny fades, this one was like 2 fairways across, so I ended up just taking an out of bounds penalty here, stroking distance, re-teed, and hit finally a decent one, I thought. This one ends up fading off as well, but it ends up hitting this hill, kicks right, and goes into the hazard. So I take another drop, and then I'm trying to keep this under the wind, but I'm already hitting my 5th shot, and it's looking pretty bad. Hitting the 6th shot here, and I'm trying just to get onto the green. The wind takes it, and I'm now left side short of the green. So here's my chip, just trying to get onto the putting surface. Luckily I do, and now I'm just trying to putt for a triple here. And yeah, here's the triple attempt, and pretty much can't convert that either. It ends up being super short, and I end up tapping in for a quad. So yeah, this round is just getting worse and worse. So here's a good whole example of how strong that wind was playing. 120 yards only, took my 8-iron, and it barely went 107 yards onto the green. So normally I carry it like 140, and yeah, I took like 40 yards off because of the wind. And here's the putt. Didn't hit a good, stroke on it, and then I end up just tapping in for par. But yeah, just contending with the wind on top of not playing well. It's a pretty rough round so far. All right, this next hole is a pretty tough hole. I end up hitting up the left-hand side, a good drive, but then I followed up with a really bad approach to the green. I tried to just punch something under the wind, which I don't really have that shot, and I shanked it to the right. Then I followed up with what I thought is a good chip, but this one ends up bouncing over the green, and then, yeah, end up shorten this one a little bit, and I have a manageable putt for what is now my bogey. end up just missing that one and then tapping in for a double bogey. So at this point in the round, my attitude's not the greatest, and honestly, this is the point in time of around the ninth hole where you should really think about turning things around. You still have a lot of golf to play, and yeah, I didn't really think about it that much. And in a vacuum, if I would have had a better attitude, maybe I could have, shot a better score. However, this hole, pretty straightforward. Wind behind me, hit a great drive. Hit an okay approach. Third putt was fine. Ended up just tapping this one in for par. And I think mentally I just wasn't in the right space. We were playing a match 2v2, so it was keeping me engaged. So I was mainly focusing on that. But anytime I had like a bad hole, I think it would just completely take me out of it. And then I wouldn't focus on scoring or minimizing the damage. So hit a really short drive into the wind here. And this shot, I just completely missed to the right. Hopefully I was just hoping not to hit anyone, and I lost the ball. So I took a drop, took a stroke, or 2 strokes, and yeah, end up just hitting this one up short of the green. So that was my 5th shot. And then trying to bump and run here, ended up being pretty good for where it was located. It was kind of sitting down in a hole. And then now this is for double. And yeah, I could not convert here, ended up getting a triple bogey. So yeah, I'm blowing up the scorecard left and right. This next one is a normal length par 4. Ended up hitting a pretty good drive here in the middle of the fairway. And so I have a good look into the green for my second shot. This one ends up being a pretty decent shot into the green, which gives me an opportunity for a long, low chance birdie. Here's the birdie putt. And finally, something shown on my side here. Golf gods are giving it back, and I got a birdie for this hole. All right, coming up next is a windy par 3. I try to keep it under the wind by hitting a punch shot that I don't have. Don't know why I do this on the course, thinking I can magically come up with the shot that I've never practiced. Left it really short, and then now I have a bump and run, and I leave this one pretty short as well. Thought I would roll out a little more, but I think I was playing a little uphill. And here's the par attempt, and yeah, don't end up knocking that one in, so I end up picking up another bogey. All right, so next hole here, a short par 4. End up hitting a pretty decent drive, carrying the trap on the left-hand side of the fairway. Give myself an opportunity to hit a good one into the green. Here's the shot into the green, and finally I'm dancing for another attempt at birdie. And so here is the birdie attempt. And yeah, the putting was just so far off today. I wasn't sure what's going on, making more excuses for myself, but yeah, just end up tapping that one for a par. Coming up next is a pretty tough par 4. There's carry on your second shot for sure. That being said, hit up the left-hand side, had some assist from the wind, ended up drawing it for once instead of fading it. My second shot just carried the creek and barely getting on the green. And this camera shot's going to be pretty far away, so I'll have to explain what happens. I end up doing a bump and run, ends up zooming mine, so I'll probably have another 12 to 15 footer. And yeah, I leave this one just barely short. You can't see it, but yeah, I was pretty frustrated about that, doing the bent over frustration exhale. And yeah, we're moving on to the next one after a bogey. All right, another windy par 3 coming up. End up taking a 6-iron from 142 yards out. And it ends up going left and into the sand trap, which is, of course, not my favorite place to be on the golf course. I end up hitting a pretty good sand shot. Thought I was going to get a little bit closer, so I have a testy one for my par. And yeah, look at the putting. It's just not been great. So moving on to the next one after a bogey. All right, coming up next, I think I realize I'm 17 over and can maybe shoot bogey golf. I end up hitting this to the right, even though it's a dog-leg left, and then leaving this one short into the wind. So this is where I make a pretty big mistake in taking out my gap wedge instead of like a sand wedge. End up blading this one over the green, and then taking my gap wedge again because I was too lazy to get my clubs, and this one being super short because I was kind of afraid I was going to do the same thing. So now I have a long putt for what I believe is bogey, and I don't end up converting that and end up tapping in for double. So much for shooting bogey golf. So at this point in the round, I'm kind of just in full YOLO mode. Swing it really hard. I end up hitting a pretty decent drive up the right-hand side, but not in the fairway. And so I'm going for the flag. Unfortunately, you can't see it. End up pulling this one, and it rolls into the water. So yeah, that's what I get. Like I said, mentally just wasn't my day. Didn't have the right mindset to shoot a good score. And even here, made a mistake again. Instead of just getting on the green, I tried to be too cute and got short in the sand trap. I actually hit a really good sand shot, and then here is my bogey attempt. Leave that one short, end up tapping in for double, and I'm just blowing it up at this point even more. So here comes trouble.
Oh no!
Wanted to swing out of my butt, end up just topping it into the bushes and losing my ball. So that being said, I re-tee, actually hit a beast of a drive, player 2 where you at. And yeah, with the wind, it went around 325 yards. So yeah, I don't have much distance into the green. I end up hitting a really good wedge shot. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but ends up just hitting the flag. So I have a short, maybe 6-footer for my bogey here. And you know what? After all that, this is the things that keep you coming back. Something like a hit flag. Even though I blew it up, I still had a good time and enjoyed everyone's company. Alright, as you can see, the wind really took a toll on my game. But that being said, let's not excuse my overall bad play because of the wind. On top of the wind, I wasn't playing all that great as well. Made some very questionable decisions that blew up my score even more. But that being said, yeah, Metropolitan golf links can be a challenge, or any course, you know, with a lot of wind. If it's extreme wind, can be extremely challenging. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. Keep chasing. We'll see you in the next one.